Today's podcast, English listening practice topic name is Phrasal Verbs in Real Life Contexts. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating, sometimes, let's be honest, bewildering, but absolutely essential part of English. Phrasal verbs. You know, if you think of English as this vast, beautiful ocean, well, you've probably bumped into some of its trickier currents. And today, we are diving headfirst into one of those currents, because these things, phrasal verbs, they aren't just some obscure grammar point you find tucked away in dusty old textbooks. Oh no, they're really the heartbeat of how native English speakers actually talk every single day. They bring this warmth to our casual chats. They help professional meetings flow more, seamlessly, and they even pop up in our favorite songs and movies. They give them that unique rhythm, that flavor. Think of them almost like linguistic accelerators. Once you get the hang of them, they don't just expand your vocabulary, they really fundamentally transform how you understand and express yourself in English. It's like unlocking a whole new level of fluency. So our mission in this deep dive, it's to pull back the curtain on phrasal verbs. We want to show you just how widespread they are, how they appear in pretty much every corner of daily life, and maybe most importantly, we want to equip you with practical, actual strategies you can use to master them. By the time we're done here, you are going to feel, I promise, significantly more confident. Not just spotting these little linguistic gems, but actually weaving them into your own speech, your own writing, with a newfound ease. So yeah, get ready to really elevate your English.
It's so true. Phrasal verbs really are the secret sauce of English. They're what truly distinguishes a fluent speaker, I think. They add this layer of, naturalness and nuance that, simpler single verbs often just can't quite capture. And they are literally everywhere you turn, from the most informal text message you send to maybe a formal business report you have to write. So trying to ignore them, it's just not really an option if your goal is genuine fluency. Think of it like this. Imagine a really delicious sandwich, right? But if you skip the sauce, well, it might still be edible, technically, but it's going to be kind of stiff, maybe a bit dry, and it's definitely lacking that essential zest, that pop. English without phrasal verbs can feel a bit like that. It might come across as overly formal, sometimes a little stilted, and it just misses out on that natural organic flow that you hear in real conversation. They don't just add flair, they really signal a deeper understanding of the language. And that, in turn, really boosts your confidence as you start using them.
And what's quite remarkable, I find, is that once you start to grasp their patterns, maybe even their kind of playful nature sometimes, they actually turn what seems like a hurdle into a genuinely enjoyable part of learning the language.
Okay, that's a great way to put it, the secret sauce. So let's unpack this a little bit more then. What exactly is a phrasal verb?
At its very core, it's basically a combination. It's a verb plus either a preposition or an adverb, sometimes, even both. But the crucial part, and this is often where the challenge comes in, is that this combination, the verb plus the particle, it frequently creates a meaning that's really quite different from the original verb when it's just standing on its own. It's not simply the sum of its parts.
Right. So take a really common verb like look, okay? On its own, look just means, direct your eyes at something. To glance, simple. But then you pair look with the preposition after, and suddenly you get look after.
Yeah, and the meaning just shifts completely.
Exactly. Look after means to take care of someone or something. Like you might say, could you please look after my cat while I'm away? There's no connection anymore to just seeing or glancing. It really shows that kind of semantic transformation that happens when these elements combine. It's fascinating.
And they exist on this broad spectrum, don't they? Some are quite transparent, which makes them, relatively easy to figure out. Like, sit down. Right. It means pretty much exactly what it sounds like. The physical act of moving your body into a seated position. It's very literal.
Okay, yeah. Sit down, stand up. Got it.
But then you get the highly figurative ones, like give in.
Ah, right. That doesn't mean physically giving something.
Not at all. It means to agree reluctantly, or maybe to yield to pressure or demands. It has absolutely nothing to do with physically giving anything or being in something. And this incredible flexibility, where the meaning is often idiomatic and you can't easily guess it just from the individual words. Well, that's both a huge strength of phrasal verbs. They allow for incredibly rich and nuanced expression.
But also the challenge, right?
Precisely. It's also, admittedly, a significant hurdle for learners. And that's exactly why getting a handle on them is so vital for authentic, natural-sounding communication.
Okay, so they're flexible, sometimes tricky, but crucial. Got it.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer omnipresence of these verbs means that trying to avoid them, It just isn't a realistic path if you're aiming for true fluency. They're just organically woven into the very fabric of everyday communication. So much so that native speakers use them instinctively, almost without, conscious thought.
Yeah, you don't really stop and think, "Ooh, should I use a phrasal verb here?" You just do.
Exactly. Think about it. Whether someone's, cracking jokes with friends or meticulously pitching a new project to colleagues or even just planning a detailed trip abroad, phrasal verbs are consistently there. They provide this concise and natural way to convey a huge range of actions and ideas.
So mastering them isn't just about knowing more words.
No, not at all. It's genuinely your ticket to sounding natural. It really is. It's about being able to engage effortlessly in pretty much any context, whether you're just having a relaxed chat with someone new or navigating the sometimes complex professional work environment or even just kicking back and enjoying your favorite movie or music.
Right, because without them, your English might feel a bit stiff or maybe too formal.
Yeah, exactly. Rigid, overly formal, sometimes even a little distant. But with them, your speech becomes much more fluid, more dynamic, and it genuinely reflects the way real people actually speak. And while, they share some similarities with maybe idioms or slang because they are non-literal meanings, their basic grammatical structure, just a verb combined with a particle, makes them a core part of everyday English grammar. They're different from purely metaphorical expressions.
Okay. And you mentioned conciseness too.
Yes, that's key. They provide this efficiency of expression. Why say, I need to find a solution to this problem when you can just say, I need to work out this problem? That conciseness is so important for achieving that native-like rhythm in speech.
That's such a great point about the efficiency and the rhythm. It really is a game changer when you start using them more. And this brings us to where it gets really compelling, I think. Let's shift focus now from the sort of theoretical stuff to the intensely practical. Let's see how these linguistic powerhouses actually show up in, every corner of our lives. You might be surprised just how ingrained they are in our daily interactions. And understanding this, seeing them in action, will make them much easier for you to spot and then, hopefully, use confidently yourself. Okay, first stop, everyday conversations. Let's imagine you're at your favorite coffee shop, maybe meeting up with a friend you haven't seen in ages. This kind of setting, it's where phrasal verbs aren't just common. They're pretty much essential for that warm, natural, casual flow you want in a conversation.
Yeah, they really give chats that sense of ease and familiarity.
Exactly. They achieve something that maybe simpler single verbs can't always manage in the same way. Like, for instance, that classic greeting, "Oh my gosh, it's been forever. Let's catch up over coffee soon."
Catch up. So common.
Right. Catch up instantly tells you the idea is reconnecting, sharing updates, finding out what's been happening in each other's lives. It's way more natural than saying something formal like, "Let's synchronize our personal narratives."
Yeah, definitely. Nobody says that.
Or maybe, "Hey, want to hang out at my place tonight?" Hang out just means spending time together casually. No specific agenda. It suggests a relaxed, informal get-together, like, we're just gonna chill.
Very different from a formal visit.
Totally. Or if something maybe a bit sensitive came up in conversation later, you might say, "Look, I didn't really want to bring up the party, but honestly, it was kind of wild."
Bring up. Introducing a topic.
Exactly. Mentioning or introducing a topic, maybe one that people were avoiding, raising a point. You might also hear, "You'll never guess who I ran into at the mall yesterday, Mike."
Meaning you met him by chance.
Exactly. Completely unexpected. Not planned at all. Which is quite different from just meeting someone where it could be planned or unplanned. Or if a friend seems down, you could suggest, "Hey, you look a bit stressed. Let's watch a funny movie to cheer you up."
Right. Cheer up. To make someone feel better.
Yeah, lift their spirits, especially if they're sad or stressed. Or maybe you're trying to change a habit. I'm really trying to cut back on coffee, but it's so tough.
Cut back. Reduce or use less. Very useful.
Super useful. Reducing caffeine, spending, screen time, whatever. It's about moderation. And for a quick, informal visit, you'd say, "Hey, I might drop by your place later if you're free."
Drop by. Visit briefly, maybe without much notice.
Exactly. Very different from scheduling a formal visit. And finally, maybe you're recovering from something. Don't worry, you'll get over that cold in a few days.
Recover from something. Could be an illness, could be a breakup, disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. Moving past it. These phrases, they just make your casual interactions feel so much more authentic, more engaging. They carry that specific, informal, friendly tone.
It really is fascinating how they create this particular texture in casual conversation. They inherently add a certain warmth, I think, and intimacy. They make conversations feel less formal and definitely more engaging than if we only stuck to single word verbs. Like you said, hang out conveys that specific, relaxed, casual interaction that maybe spend time doesn't quite capture.
Yeah, I spent time with my friend sounds a bit clinical.
A little stiff, maybe.
Yeah.
Whereas I hung out with my friend immediately tells you it was informal, relaxed, easygoing. So to really internalize this, a very practical approach is just consciously pick, say, 2 or 3 of these common ones that resonate with you, and then deliberately try to weave them into your next casual conversation.
Okay, like make a point of using catch up or hang out.
Exactly. Maybe send a simple text message to a friend saying, hey, let's hang out soon and catch up. You'll find that using them in real scenarios like that makes them feel effortlessly part of your vocabulary almost right away. The goal isn't just knowing the definition, it's feeling how they shape the conversation, you know.
Feeling the flow. I like that. Okay, so from those casual coffee shop chats, let's shift focus. Let's talk about the professional world, because phrasal verbs definitely play a big role at work too. Whether you're navigating a Zoom meeting, or maybe drafting an important email, or managing a complex project, these verbs aren't just for your friends. They can actually help you sound confident, collaborative, and approachable in a professional context. They often provide a more dynamic, maybe less stuffy alternative to some of the more formal, Latin-rooted verbs.
Right, they can make things sound a bit more direct, perhaps.
Yeah. For example, if a client raises a concern, you might say, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'll look into the client's complaint right away and report back.
Look into, investigate, or research. Sounds proactive.
It does, doesn't it? It suggests a proactive, diligent investigation. It conveys commitment to finding a solution, maybe more so than just saying, I will investigate. Or after a meeting, you might hear, okay, great discussion. Can you follow up with the marketing team on the project timeline?
Follow up, check in, take further action, keep things moving.
Exactly. It's about maintaining momentum, ensuring accountability. Very common in project management. Sometimes, of course, things get delayed. You might hear, look, team, we really can't put off this deadline any longer. We need to deliver.
Put off, delay, or postpone often implies a bit more urgency than just postpone.
Yeah, I think so too. It feels like we shouldn't be doing this. In a team setting, maybe someone's overloaded, you could offer, hey, don't worry, I'll take over the presentation prep if you're swamped.
Take over, assume responsibility. Shows teamwork.
Definitely. It shows willingness to help, maybe even leadership. And for problem solving, a classic is, okay, let's work out a plan that actually fits the budget.
Work out, resolve, figure out, find the solution. Often implies collaboration.
Yes, it feels collaborative, like you're creating or refining something together, whereas maybe resolve sounds a bit more final or unilateral. Before a big decision, you'd probably want to run this idea by the boss before we proceed.
Run something by someone. Check for approval or feedback. Usually informal.
Right, like a quick check-in. Really critical in professional communication. To organize something new, you'd ask, could you set up a meeting for next week to discuss this?
Set up. Arrange or organize, like setting up a system or an event.
Exactly. And finally, when concluding a meeting or discussion, okay, great points, everyone. Let's wrap up this discussion now, and I'll send out the note.
Wrap up, finish or conclude. Nice and efficient.
Yeah. These phrasal verbs, they really help strike that important balance. You sound professional, but also maintain a conversational, approachable tone. They're direct, they're clear, very efficient for business communication.
It is quite striking, isn't it, how these verbs hold such subtle power in a professional context. They allow for that conciseness and naturalness that, single verbs might lack sometimes. They often make your communication feel more efficient and definitely less stiff. Like you said, saying, I'll sort out the schedule feels maybe inherently more collaborative, perhaps even more proactive than just stating, I'll organize the schedule.
Even though both are perfectly okay professionally.
Exactly. Both are fine. But the phrasal verb adds that little nuance, maybe, of taking care of something. A highly effective way to practice these is just by incorporating them into your daily professional emails. You could try writing something simple like, just confirming I'll look into the issue you raised and follow up with an update by tomorrow.
Okay, so use them in writing too.
Definitely. Just remember, always be mindful of the formality level. While work out or look into are generally perfectly fine in most business settings, you'd certainly want to avoid overly casual options like, say, mess up when you're communicating with your supervisor or important clients.
Right. Probably don't email the CEO saying you messed up.
Probably not. Always consider your audience in this specific context. That's key.
Good advice. Okay, let's move on to something maybe a bit more fun. Pop culture. Phrasal verbs are absolutely everywhere, in your favorite songs, movies, TV shows, and they're a huge reason why these forms of entertainment feel so relatable and, well, punchy. They often capture complex emotional situations or action-packed scenarios in a really concise, impactful way that just resonates with audiences.
Yeah, they're like linguistic shortcuts to emotion or action.
Totally. Think of the literally countless songs you've heard about relationships ending. You always hear lines like, "We broke up and I'm trying to move on."
Break up, a classic, and a romantic relationship.
It's a total staple in pop lyrics. It conveys that clear, universal experience with a directness that something like, "We terminated our relationship," just completely lacks. Nobody sings that.
Thankfully.
Or imagine a dramatic movie scene. A character might be offering encouragement to someone trapped, saying, "Just hang in there, help is coming."
Hang in there. Stay strong. Persevere. Great idiom and a phrasal verb.
Exactly. It's a powerful message of resilience, but conveyed with warmth and urgency. In mystery shows, the detectives, they're constantly trying to figure out the motive or figure out who did it.
Figure out, solve, understand, find the answer implies mental effort.
Yes, like putting pieces of a puzzle together. And in those thrilling heist movies, you'll undoubtedly hear lines like, "Quick, we need to get away before the cops show up."
Get away, escape, often implies avoiding capture. Urgent.
Definitely conveys urgency and stealth. Then you have party scenes or maybe upbeat pop anthems. Someone might excitedly shout, "All right, everyone, let's turn up tonight."
Turn up, get excited, increase energy, make the party lively.
Yeah, raising the intensity, having a wild time. And then unfortunately, in many dramas, friends might fall out over some silly misunderstanding.
Fall out, have a disagreement, stop being friends, captures that breakdown.
Yeah, it captures the emotional breakdown of a bond. So next time you're streaming something on Netflix or just jamming to Spotify, make an active effort. Keep an ear out for these. They are like a literal goldmine for understanding how native speakers naturally weave these verbs into everyday stories and dramatic narratives.
Pop culture really does offer a living language lesson, doesn't it? It's not just passive entertainment. It's this immersive environment where you can observe and really internalize how natives naturally integrate these verbs into meaningful contexts. They provide these direct auditory examples of how the phrases are used in emotionally resonant situations or action-packed moments, and they often carry more emotional weight or specificity than single words might.
So how can listeners leverage that?
Well, a fantastic approach is to create your own phrasal verb playlist, maybe. Pick a song you really enjoy, maybe something like Dua Lipa's Break My Heart, and actively listen. Try to spot phrasal verbs like break down or move on or maybe turn up. Once you spot them, challenge yourself. Write some new sentences using those same phrasal verbs, but maybe imagine a different scenario.
Okay, so active engagement.
Exactly. That active engagement with authentic content will dramatically enhance your recall and application. It turns passive listening into active learning, which is much more effective.
Great idea. Okay, shifting gears again, let's move to a more structured setting. Let's explore phrasal verbs in school and education. Whether you're a student prepping for exams, or a teacher leading a class, or maybe just a lifelong learner taking a course, phrasal verbs are absolutely key in academic environments too. They're fundamental for discussing assignments, understanding lectures, just navigating the whole learning process, really.
Yeah, you hear them constantly in classrooms.
Definitely. For instance, a teacher will almost certainly say something like, "Okay, class, don't forget to hand in your essays by Friday afternoon."
Hand in, submit, turn in. Standard academic term.
It's the standard, most natural way to say it. Much more common than just submit in everyday classroom talk. Before a test, a teacher might suggest, "All right, let's quickly go over the homework answers from last night."
Go over, review, discuss in detail, often for clarification or prep.
Yeah, making sure everyone understands. If someone's a really quick learner, you might comment, "Wow, she picked up French so fast when she joined the class."
Pick up. Learn or acquire, often quickly or informally through exposure.
Right. Maybe not through intense formal instruction, but just by being in the environment. On the other hand, sadly, sometimes students leave their studies early. Yeah, he dropped out of college after the first year to pursue his startup idea.
Drop out. Quit or leave a course or institution without finishing. Very specific.
Very specific academic action. If a concept is proving difficult, a student might say, "Ugh, it took me ages to finally catch on to calculus. It just didn't click at first."
Catch on. understand or grasp, especially after some initial difficulty, that aha moment.
Exactly, that aha moment. Before an important assessment, you might think to yourself, okay, I really need to brush up on my grammar rules before the exam tomorrow.
Brush up. Refresh or improve existing skills, usually after not using them for a while. Quick review.
Yeah, getting rid of the cobwebs. During lectures, it's always wise advice to make sure you write down the key points the professor mentions.
Write down. Note. Record information in writing. Much more common than just record here.
Much more common. And for managing the workload, a teacher might advise it's really important to try and keep up with the weekly reading assignments.
Keep up. Stay on pace. Maintain the required progress. Don't fall behind.
Exactly. Don't fall behind. These are particularly helpful, I think, for learners who are in classrooms where English is the main language of instruction. Using these phrasal verbs is often the most natural and expected way to talk about these academic actions.
It's definitely worth considering for learners, especially as you say those in maybe ESL programs or international educational settings, why these specific phrasal verbs are so essential. They're not just common, they're often the most natural, the most idiomatic, and frankly, the expected way to express these academic actions and concepts.
So using them helps you fit in linguistically.
Precisely. Using them allows you to communicate effectively and just seamlessly within that educational context. It demonstrates a deeper understanding of the linguistic norms of that environment. For instance, saying, I need to review my notes is perfectly grammatically correct, of course, but saying, I need to go over my notes just sounds far more natural and common in an academic discussion.
Okay, so how can students practice these specific ones?
Well, a really effective way is to maybe pair up with a classmate and just quiz each other. You could use a phrasal verb in a sentence like, I'll go over my notes tonight before the test, and then have your partner guess the meaning, or maybe use it in a new sentence themselves. That active recall and peer interaction really solidifies your understanding much more effectively than just trying to memorize a list passively.
Makes sense. Practice makes perfect. Okay, now let's talk travel. When you travel, you step into what I sometimes like to call a phrasal verb paradise. I like that. Seriously, these verbs are absolutely essential for everything. Booking your accommodation, exploring a new city, and crucially, chatting with locals or other travelers. They just streamline your communication, and honestly, they make you sound like a much more experienced globetrotter.
Yeah, less like a tourist reading a phrase book.
Exactly. Consider arriving at your accommodation. Hi, we need to check in, please. The reservation is under Smith.
Check in. Register. Arrive formally. Standard for hotels, airports.
Right. It's that specific action of formally starting your stay or your journey. When embarking on an adventure, you might text your friends back home. Exciting news! We set off for Paris at dawn this morning.
Set off. Begin a journey or trip. Sounds active, enthusiastic.
It does. Once you've arrived somewhere, you'll definitely want to know how to say, get around London easily. Is the tube the best way?
Get around. Move or travel within a place. Navigating.
Yeah, indicating ease of navigation or just finding your way. For more casual exploration, you might suggest, hey, let's just look around the market for a bit before we grab lunch.
Look around. Explore. Browse. Wander without a specific goal. Just curiosity.
Exactly. And if you're a curious traveler who picks things up easily, you might mention later, oh yeah, I actually picked up some basic Spanish while I was traveling in Mexico last year.
Pick up again. But here, meaning learn informally through immersion.
Right, not formal study, just absorbing it. Super common for travelers. When living, you might ask your taxi driver, could you drop me off at Terminal 3, please?
Drop off. Leave someone at a specific location, usually by car. Convenience.
Yeah. Sometimes, unfortunately, plans get disrupted. Our flight was held up for 2 hours because of bad weather.
Hold up. Delay something. A common travel frustration.
Tell me about it. And for recommendations, you definitely say something like, oh, you have to check out that little cafe we found in Rome. It's absolutely amazing.
Check out. Visit or try something interesting or recommended. A must-see, must-try.
Exactly. These phrases just allow you to navigate all these travel situations with a much more natural ease. Whether you're asking for directions, sharing your travel stories, or just making plans, they add that layer of sort of colloquial charm to your travel tales.
It is quite fascinating how these concise phrases instantly allow you to sound, like a seasoned traveler, someone who's comfortable and competent navigating different environments. They convey that deeper understanding of practical travel situations without needing long, clunky explanations. They're functional, efficient, and just widely understood in travel contexts. Makes your interactions much smoother.
So what's a good tip for learning these travel ones?
Well, as a proactive tip, maybe before your next trip, make it a point to learn just, say, 5 travel-related phrasal verbs that you think you'll likely need. Then, consciously commit to actually using them during your trip. For example, you might decide you're definitely going to use check-in, set off, get around, pick up, and drop off in your conversations.
Okay, be intentional about it.
Exactly. Actively integrating them into your travel vocabulary will make a really noticeable difference. It'll help you effortlessly articulate your travel plans and experiences.
Great advice. Now let's get a bit more personal. Relationships. In all their beautiful complexity, friendships, family bonds, romantic connections, they are absolutely saturated with phrasal verbs. These phrases perfectly capture emotions, interactions, the subtle dynamics between people. They provide this rich tapestry for expressing the nuances of human connection with real precision and emotional depth.
Yeah, they carry a lot of emotional weight often.
They really do. For instance, talking about friendships, you might happily say, "Oh, I get along great with my new roommate. We have so much in common."
Get along, have a good, harmonious relationship, compatibility.
Yeah, indicates things are smooth, no friction. After maybe a disagreement, it's always a relief when, yeah, they argued last night, but they made up this morning, thankfully.
Make up. Reconcile after a fight. Resolve differences.
Yeah, restore the relationship. On the romantic front, unfortunately, sometimes things end. Did you hear Sarah and Tom broke up after 3 years together?
Break up again. Ending a romantic relationship. Very direct.
Very common, very direct way to describe that difficult event. For deeper connection, you often hope someone will feel comfortable enough to open up about their feelings.
Open up. Share emotions, thoughts, personal info. It implies vulnerability, trust.
Exactly. Signifies a deepening of the relationship. And then there's that delightful moment when, honestly, I think I fell for him the moment we met.
Fall for. Develop romantic feelings, often quickly.
Yeah.
Enchantment.
Yes, that sense of enchantment. The versatile hangout can also carry a bit of a romantic undertone sometimes, right? Like, we've been hanging out a lot lately. Are we actually dating?
Yeah, context is key there. Still means spending time together, but can imply developing interest.
Exactly. Checking the relationship status. Sometimes we worry about disappointing people we care about. Oh, I really don't want to let her down on her birthday. I need to get the perfect gift.
Let down. Disappoint someone. Fail expectations. Breach of trust, almost.
Yeah, highlights that potential breach. And for unwavering support, you might declare to a friend or partner, "Don't worry, I'll always stand by you no matter what happens."
Stand by. Support. Stay loyal, especially in tough times. Real commitment.
Yeah, profound commitment. These phrasal verbs, they just add such deep emotional layers to conversations about love or friendship. They make them perfect for those heartfelt, meaningful chats where getting the feeling right is really key.
It's quite remarkable, really, how these relationship-focused phrasal verbs are absolutely crucial because they allow for such nuanced expression of really complex human interactions and emotions. They go beyond just simple descriptions of actions. They delve into the feelings, the states of being within relationships, and that makes your conversations potentially much more empathetic and profound.
So they help you connect better emotionally.
I think so. For example, saying, "I reconciled with my friend," is technically correct, sure, but saying "I made up with my friend" carries this sense of warmth, maybe a mutual effort to mend the relationship that the single verb kind of misses.
Okay, that makes sense. So a practical tip for these.
For a compelling tip here, maybe try writing a short letter or even just a text message to a friend or a loved one and consciously use, say, 3 to 5 of these relationship-oriented phrasal verbs. For example, you could write something like, "Hey, I'm so glad we get along so well and we can always open up to each other even when things get tough. Just wanted you to know I'll always stand by you."
Putting it into practice in a meaningful way.
Exactly. That active application helps you integrate them into your emotional vocabulary. It makes your heartfelt messages feel and sound more authentic.
Nice. Okay, let's shift to a context that pretty much touches everyone's daily life now. Phrasal verbs in technology. In our increasingly tech-driven world, phrasal verbs are incredibly prevalent. When we talk about gadgets, apps, our online lives, They're everywhere. They're kind of the shorthand we use for interacting with our digital devices and services. And often, they're simply the most natural way to describe technological actions.
Yeah, tech language adopted them very quickly.
Totally. For example, a fundamental action. Or, I can't log into my email account. I forgot the password again. Or, conversely, okay, don't forget to log out of your bank account when you're done.
Log in, log out. Access or exit a system. Standard terms.
Absolutely standard. When you get some new tech, you'll likely tell someone, oh, great, I just finished setting up my new laptop. It took ages.
Set up, configure, prepare, install. The initial preparation.
Right. A really crucial habit in this digital age is to always back up your important files before you install a major update.
Backup. Save a copy of data. Essential for security.
Universal phrase for data security. When your device dies, you might desperately ask, quick, can you plug in the charger for me? My phone's about to die.
Plug in. Connect to power or another device. Simple but vital.
So vital. A common frustration is when, oh no, my phone ran out of battery right in the middle of that important call.
Run out. Use up, deplete a supply, often unexpectedly. Battery data.
Yeah, always at the worst time. When trying a new service, you might say, oh yeah, I signed up for that new social media app everyone's talking about. Have you seen it?
Sign up, register, join a service or website.
Yeah. At the end of the workday, good practice is, okay, time to shut down the computer and head home.
Shut down, turn off completely, full power off.
Right. And finally, for those unexpected digital annoyances, another ad just popped up while I was trying to read that article.
Pop up, appear suddenly on screen. Notifications, ads.
Exactly. These are really must-know phrases for any kind of tech talk, whether you're troubleshooting an issue or discussing the latest app or just navigating your digital world day to day.
It's really interesting how language evolves right alongside our lives and alongside the technologies we integrate into them. These aren't just, niche tech jargon anymore. They've become fundamental verbs for discussing, interacting with, and even troubleshooting common problems in the digital age.
They're just part of everyday language now.
Absolutely. They're concise ways to describe often complex actions related to computing and digital services, and they make conversations about tech feel seamless and natural. For instance, rather than saying the slightly clunky, I need to save a copy of my data, just saying I need to back up my data is instantly understood by almost everyone and sounds much more natural in a tech context.
Okay, so a tip for practicing these tech ones.
For a practical tip here, maybe the next time you find yourself on a tech forum online, perhaps looking for a solution or asking for advice about something, make a conscious effort to use one of these phrasal verbs in your post. For example, you could write, hi everyone, I need to back up my data before installing the new OS, but I seem to have forgotten how to log in to my cloud account. Can anyone help? Using the terms naturally helps you communicate effectively within that specific community.
Good idea. Blend in with the natives of the tech forum.
Exactly.
Okay, wow. We have covered a lot of ground across so many different contexts. And honestly, the list of phrasal verbs out there is immense. We could go on forever. But before we move on to strategies for really mastering them, I just want to offer you a quick fire round. A few more incredibly versatile phrasal verbs that you'll hear in everyday life constantly. These just crop up in a myriad of situations, really proving just how foundational they are to daily communication.
Okay, hit me with them.
All right. Think about controlling volume or rejecting something. Could you turn down the music, please? It's a bit loud. Or, he asked her out, but she turned him down. See? Flexible.
Turn down, reduce volume, or reject. Context is key.
Totally. When something is free, wow, they're giving away free ice cream samples at the store today.
Give away, distribute for free. Generosity.
Yep, for tolerating something annoying. Ugh, I don't know how you put up with all that construction noise.
Put up with. Tolerate. Endure something unpleasant. Patience tested.
Definitely. For accidental discovery, I was cleaning the attic and I came across some really old family photos.
Come across, find by chance, unexpectedly.
For starting a journey or our achieving success. Hooray, the plane took off on time, or wow, her new business really took off fast.
Take off, depart airplane, or become successful quickly. Dual meaning.
Right. When someone is boasting a bit. He's always showing off his expensive new watch.
Show off. Display proudly, often suggesting bragging.
Yeah. In a maybe scarier medical situation, it was so incredibly hot in there I thought I was going to pass out.
Pass out. Faint, lose consciousness.
And pleasant anticipation. Yay, Friday. I'm really looking forward to the long weekend.
Look forward to. Be excited about a future event. Positive feeling.
Always a good one. If you make an error, Oops, I think I messed up the recipe. I added way too much salt.
Thus, make a mistake, spoil something. Informal.
Very common, informal. For unexpected events causing delays. Sorry, I'm late. Something important came up at the last minute.
Come up. Arise unexpectedly. Happen. Often urgent.
Yeah, for growth and upbringing. I actually grew up in a really small town in the countryside.
Grow up. Mature. Be raised.
Develop a resemblance within families. She really takes after her mom. They're both so creative.
Take after. Resemble a parent or older relative. Appearance or character.
For quitting something. I tried fixing that old printer for hours, but eventually I just gave up.
Give up. Quit. Abandon an attempt or habit. Stop trying.
And finally, for checking on someone's well-being. I'm just going to check up on the kids quickly and make sure they're asleep.
Check up on. See how someone is doing or inspect something.
Phew. Okay, that was rapid fire, but these truly versatile phrases just work in countless contexts, from the most casual chat to quite serious situations. Makes them incredibly handy to have in your vocabulary arsenal.
What's quite remarkable there is just the sheer breadth of situations those verbs cover. You're right. From really mundane daily actions like turning down music to significant life events like growing up or giving up on something, they just seamlessly integrate into such diverse scenarios, which makes them truly invaluable, doesn't it? They offer that succinctness and naturalness that single verbs often just can't match, like pass out is much more common and less formal than saying faint in everyday speech.
So how can people keep track of all these random useful ones?
Well, to help solidify your grasp on this wider array of verbs, I highly recommend maybe starting a phrasal verb journal.
Ooh, okay, like a diary.
Sort of. Each day, maybe commit to choosing one new phrasal verb that you've learned or encountered, then consciously use it in an original sentence in your journal. Maybe even draw a little picture to illustrate it if you're visual. For instance, you can write, "Today I came across a truly fascinating article about space exploration, and I'm really looking forward to reading more about it." That active, creative application is far more effective for long-term retention than just passively memorizing lists.
I love that idea of the phrasal verb journal. Okay, so we've just seen how absolutely prevalent phrasal verbs are. They pop up across so many aspects of our lives. But the big question remains, what does this all mean for you, the listener? You might be sitting there thinking, okay, I get it, they're important, but how can I actually get a handle on this incredible linguistic tool without feeling completely, utterly overwhelmed? It's a really common and understandable concern. But the good news is, there are highly effective strategies to make them stick.
Absolutely. It's definitely manageable if you approach it strategically.
All right, let's dive into some of those top strategies then. For truly mastering phrasal verbs, moving beyond just recognizing them to actually using them confidently and naturally.
Okay. The first strategy, and I think perhaps the most crucial one, is learn them in context.
So not just memorizing lists from a book.
Exactly. Simply memorizing long lists of phrasal verbs and their definitions is largely insufficient, and frankly, often pretty ineffective for achieving true mastery. Instead, you need to immerse yourself in authentic English content. Watch those YouTube vlogs you enjoy. Scroll through social media feeds where people chat naturally. Listen to other podcasts like this one that feature native speakers talking. Pay really close attention to how they use phrasal verbs naturally within sentences, within conversations. This lets you understand not just the basic definition, but the nuance, the situational appropriateness, maybe the emotional tone that comes with each phrase.
So you get the feel for it.
Precisely. You begin to intuitively grasp when and where to deploy them. And that makes your usage feel genuinely natural, not forced, or like you just looked it up.
Okay, context is king. What's next?
Secondly, a really powerful technique is to try and group them by particle.
By the little word at the end, like up or out.
Exactly. Many phrasal verbs that share the same particle, the preposition or adverb, often share a kind of common conceptual theme. It's not a perfect rule, but it's a helpful pattern. For example, the particle up very frequently implies ideas like completion or increase, or even emergence. Think about clean up, completing the cleaning, speed up, increasing speed, or show up, or come up, meaning to appear or emerge.
Okay, yeah, I can see that pattern.
And conversely, the particle out often signifies ideas like leaving or removal, or maybe spreading information, like move out, leaving a home, hand out, distributing things widely, or figure out, kind of extracting a solution or understanding.
Right, or find out.
Exactly. Recognizing these patterns can provide a really valuable mental shortcut. It can help you predict meanings sometimes, and it just makes the learning process feel less daunting and a bit more logical.
Grouping by particle. Got it. What else?
Thirdly, Practice with stories. Active creation is always far more effective for deep learning than just passive consumption.
So actually using them, not just reading them.
Yes. Challenge yourself. Write a short paragraph, maybe just about your day or a little fictional scenario, and specifically aim to use a certain number of phrasal verbs you're trying to learn, say 5 to 10 of them. This forces you to really engage with the meaning and actively integrate them into a coherent narrative. For example, you might write, "This morning I had to wake up early to work out. Later I ran into an old friend, so we decided to catch up. We ended up hanging out all afternoon, even though I had to put off doing my chores."
Ah, okay. Making it part of a story makes it stick better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That creative application strengthens your recall and helps you produce them more naturally later on. It builds those neural pathways for active use.
Makes sense. What's tip number 4?
Our fourth tip is to use flashcards effectively. Now, I know we said don't just memorize lists, but flashcards can be useful if done right. Digital flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet are incredibly effective tools, specifically for drilling meanings and example sentences. The beauty of these apps is often their spaced repetition algorithms.
Right. They show you the hard ones more often.
Exactly. They intelligently schedule reviews based on how well you remember things, ensuring you revisit the tricky verbs more frequently until they stick. But when you create your flashcards, don't just put phrasal verb equal definition. That's not enough context. Instead, put the phrasal verb on one side, and on the other side, put a full example sentence showing it used naturally in context. Maybe even add an image if that helps you, and perhaps make a little note if it's separable or inseparable. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, context on the flashcard too. Good tip. And the last strategy.
And finally, strategy number 5 is to mimic natives. This involves really active listening, followed by repetition.
Like shadowing.
It's exactly like shadowing. Choose a sitcom or a TV show with lots of natural, everyday dialogue. Maybe something like The Office or Friends or a modern equivalent. Pay super close attention to how the characters use phrasal verbs. But don't just listen passively. Pause the show. Repeat the lines exactly as they are spoken. Focus not just on the words, but try to copy the intonation, the rhythm, even the emotional delivery.
So you're practicing the sound and the usage together.
Precisely. This helps you internalize not only the correct usage, but also the natural flow and tone that goes with these verbs. It makes your own speech sound much more authentic and less like you're mentally translating from your first language.
That's all incredibly helpful advice. 5 great strategies. Context, grouping, stories, flashcards done right, and mimicking. Now, while mastering these is super rewarding, as we've hinted, they do have some tricky aspects, so it's equally important to be aware of some common pitfalls to watch out for. Knowing these common mistakes can save you from potential misunderstandings or maybe some awkward moments, and just make your journey to fluency a bit smoother.
Yeah, definitely worth flagging a few potential traps. A really significant pitfall is confusing the literal versus figurative meanings. Many phrasal verbs have multiple meanings, and sometimes one meaning can be very literal, while another is highly idiomatic or figurative.
Right, like your run over example earlier.
Exactly. Run over is perfect. It can literally mean to hit something with a car. Oh no, the delivery truck accidentally ran over my mailbox. That's a physical, concrete action. But it can also figuratively mean to review something quickly. Okay, team, let's just quickly run over the main points one more time before the client arrives. Completely different meaning.
And you need the context to tell which is which.
Absolutely. Context is paramount here. You have to look at the surrounding words, listen to the tone, consider the overall situation to correctly interpret which meaning is intended. Misinterpreting this can lead to, well, vastly different understandings and potentially some embarrassing moments.
Okay, literal versus figurative. Big one. What's another pitfall?
Another crucial distinction to be aware of is between separable and inseparable phrasal verbs.
Ah, okay. This sounds grammatical.
It is. It refers to whether the object of the verb, the noun or pronoun, can be placed between the verb and its particle, or if it must always follow the particle.
Okay, can you give an example?
Sure. Take turn on. It's separable. You can say turn on the light, or you can say turn the light on. Both are correct. And crucially, if the object is a pronoun like it or them, it must go in the middle. Turn it on. You cannot say turn on it.
Okay, so pronoun forces separation for separable verbs.
Correct. But now consider look after, meaning to take care of. This one is inseparable. You must say, I need to look after the kids. You can never say, I need to look the kids after.
Right, that sounds really weird.
It does. And with the pronoun, it still follows. I need to look after them. You wouldn't say look them after. Now, while the rules for determining which verbs are which can be complex and honestly require practice and exposure, simply being aware that this distinction exists is a huge step. Actively pay attention to patterns you see and hear, and it will help you avoid some common grammatical errors that can make your speech sound unnatural.
Separable versus inseparable. Got it. Need to watch out for that. What else?
Formality is another important consideration that learners sometimes overlook.
Right. Using slang with the boss is probably not a good idea.
Exactly. Phrasal verbs vary widely in their level of formality. Some are perfectly suitable for professional or academic contexts. We've discussed many, like follow up or look into. But others are decidedly casual, informal, or even borderline slangy. For example, workout is generally fine in a business meeting, as we said. But using something like screw up, which means to make a mistake.
Yeah, probably don't tell your boss you screwed up the report.
Probably not. It would sound highly inappropriate and unprofessional in most formal contexts. Always consider your audience and the setting you are in. When in doubt, especially in a very formal situation, it's often safer to err on the side of using a more formal, maybe single-word verb if one is available and appropriate, like investigate instead of look into if you need utmost formality, or choose a different phrasal verb that you know is widely accepted in formal contexts.
Good rule of thumb. When in doubt, maybe choose the more formal option.
Especially in high-stakes formal situations, yes. Finally, just briefly, be aware of regional variations.
Like British versus American English.
Exactly. While a huge number of phrasal verbs are pretty universal across English-speaking regions, some usages can differ subtly, or perhaps one verb might be much more common in one region than another. For instance, British English speakers might frequently use pop in to mean visit briefly and informally, whereas American English speakers might be more likely to say drop by for the same idea.
Okay, pop in versus drop by.
Another common one is completing a form. American English typically uses fill out a form, while British English more commonly uses fill in a form. Both are understood, but one is more prevalent in each region. Just listening for these subtle differences, especially if you consume media from different regions, like watching both BBC and American shows, can refine your understanding and allows you to adapt your speech if you want to, helping you connect perhaps more authentically with speakers from different backgrounds.
That's really useful context. So, pitfalls: literal versus figurative, separable versus inseparable, formality, and regional variations. Lots to keep in mind, but being aware is half the battle. Okay, so we've covered a huge amount today. We know what phrasal verbs are, why they're crucial, where they pop up everywhere, strategies to learn them, and pitfalls to avoid. But let's bring it all together. What's your personal action plan for someone listening right now? How do they take all this great knowledge and actually turn it into real, confident usage moving forward?
Right, the what next question. Well, first, remember that analogy. Think of phrasal verbs as the spice rack of English. They really do make your speech pop, adding incredible flavor and authenticity. But just like with spices, you don't use them all at once. So the first step is start small. Don't try to master hundreds immediately. That is just a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and maybe giving up.
Okay, so how small is small?
Begin by picking maybe just 10 phrasal verbs, but choose ones that are directly relevant and useful to your daily life right now. For example, if you socialize a lot with English-speaking friends, maybe focus on verbs like catch up, hang out, get along, make up. If your work involves lots of meetings and projects, prioritize things like set up, follow up, look into, wrap up. The absolute key is choosing verbs that are immediately useful for your specific communication needs. That makes practicing them feel relevant and rewarding.
Makes sense. Tailor it to your life. Step 2.
Secondly, consistency is paramount. Learning these isn't a one-off task. Make a conscious effort to use your chosen phrasal verbs daily, or as often as possible. Actively listen for them everywhere in conversations you overhear, in podcasts you listen to, on TV shows, in movies, online. The more you expose yourself to them and actively attempt to produce them yourself, the more natural and automatic they will become.
And don't worry about mistakes.
Absolutely crucial. Don't stress about making mistakes. They are an absolutely natural and frankly essential part of the learning journey for everyone. View each misstep not as a failure, but as a learning opportunity, a chance to refine your understanding. Embrace the process.
Okay, consistency and a growth mindset. What else?
To really accelerate your progress, incorporate some of those specific, maybe even fun activities into your routine. We mentioned a few. Dedicate some time specifically to watching a movie or a TV episode with the goal of actively jotting down every phrasal verb you hear. Then maybe look up their nuances later.
Or challenge yourself to write that diary entry or journal entry we talked about, specifically aiming to include maybe 10 or more phrasal verbs you've been working on. Even better, if possible, join an English-speaking group. This could be online, maybe a conversation club, or an in-person group if you have access. This provides a safe, supportive space for real-time practice.
Where you can actually try them out in spontaneous conversation.
Exactly. You can experiment with using these verbs spontaneously and often get immediate, gentle feedback. The more you integrate them into your active life, your active communication, the sooner you'll find yourself weaving them into your sentences just as effortlessly as a native speaker does.
Start small, be consistent, embrace mistakes, and practice actively. Sounds like a solid plan. Well, you have just completed a very deep dive into the incredible, sometimes complex, but ultimately rewarding world of phrasal verbs. The core takeaway here, I hope, is really clear. These aren't just some tricky grammatical hurdle you have to clear. They are an absolutely essential, dynamic element of English that will truly elevate your communication to a much more natural, more expressive, and more authentic level. They are pretty unequivocally your key to sounding truly fluent and genuinely confident when you speak or write English. By embracing them, you're not just learning more words, you're really unlocking a deeper connection to the rhythm and, dare I say, the soul of the English language itself.
Beautifully put. And this whole exploration, for me at least, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other seemingly small or maybe nuanced elements of language hold such immense power? Power in shaping how we communicate, and maybe even power in shaping how we perceive and interact with the world around us. The journey of language learning is always one of continuous discovery, I think. There's always more to explore in the subtle, fascinating power of words and how we combine them. So my final thought is just keep that curiosity burning. Keep exploring.
Fantastic final thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We sincerely hope you feel much more empowered now to tackle phrasal verbs and really start integrating them into your everyday English. If you found this deep dive valuable, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. It really helps us out. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into one of English's most fascinating parts. Sometimes bewildering, maybe, but absolutely essential.
Definitely.
Phrasal verbs. We all know them, those combinations. Verb plus a little word. But have you ever stopped to think why English uses them so much? Or how they actually change the meaning?
Right. They aren't just some, obscure grammar point you learn in a textbook.
No. They're like the heartbeat, the rhythmic pulse of how native English speakers really talk. Every single day.
Yeah, they bring warmth to just, casual chats. They help meetings flow.
And you hear them in songs, movies. They give everything that certain rhythm, that flavor.
Exactly. Think of them as like linguistic accelerators. Once you really get them, it's not just about more words. They really transform how you understand English, how you express yourself. It unlocks a whole new level of fluency.
It does. It really does. And I've heard them called the secret sauce of English.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. They often distinguish a fluent speaker because they add this layer of naturalness, nuance too, that simpler verbs they often miss it.
And they are everywhere, aren't they?
Totally ubiquitous, from a quick text message to like a formal business report. So yeah, trying to avoid them, it's not really an option if you want genuine fluency.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is basically to pull back the curtain on phrasal verbs. We want to show you just how deeply ingrained they are, like in almost every part of daily life.
And more importantly, equip you with some really practical strategies, things you can actually use to master them.
Right. So by the time we wrap up today, the goal is you'll feel much more confident, not just spotting these little linguistic gems, but actually weaving them into your own speaking, your writing, with, a bit more ease, elevating your English.
Yeah, think about that sandwich analogy. It works pretty well.
Okay.
Imagine a really great sandwich. Sure, you could eat it plain, no sauce.
Technically edible.
Technically. But it'd be kind of stiff, right? Dry. Missing that zest, that pop.
Yeah, lacking something.
Well, English without phrasal verbs can sometimes feel a bit like that. It might sound okay, but maybe overly formal, a little stilted. It often misses that natural sort of organic flow you hear in real conversation.
Okay, so using them signals something deeper.
It really does.
Yeah.
It signals a better understanding of the language, which in turn actually boosts your confidence when you start using them yourself.
That's a great way to frame it, the secret sauce, making things less stiff. Okay, let's nail down the basics just quickly. We know it's a verb plus a preposition or an adverb. sometimes both.
Right. But the crucial bit, the thing that makes them interesting, and let's be honest, sometimes challenging,
Yeah.
is that the combination often creates a meaning that's quite different from the original verb on its own. It's usually not just the sum of its parts.
Ah, okay. So not just literal addition.
Exactly. Take look, simple verb, means direct your eyes, but add after, look after, suddenly means take care of. Like, could you look after my plans?
Completely different from just seeing something.
Totally different. Zero connection to just glancing.
Yeah.
That complete shift in meaning, that semantic transformation, that's what defines so many phrasal verbs.
That semantic shift is huge.
Yeah.
And they exist on a spectrum, right? Some are pretty obvious.
Yeah, some are quite transparent, easy to figure out, like, sit down.
Sit down. It's literally just sitting down.
Right. The physical act, transparent, but then you get the really figurative ones, the idiomatic ones, like give in.
Where give in
Yeah,
means to yield, agree reluctantly.
Exactly. Yielding to pressure. There's no physical giving happening at all.
None.
And it's this flexibility, this range from literal to highly idiomatic, where the meaning is often unpredictable. That's both their strength, it allows for really rich, nuanced ways to say things, and also the main challenge for learners, why getting a handle on them is just so crucial for sounding, authentic, natural.
It really seems like you just can't avoid them if fluency is the goal. They're just
Yeah.
woven in.
Absolutely. Trying to avoid them is unrealistic. Native speakers, we use them instinctively, almost without thinking.
Like breathing.
Pretty much. We don't pause and think, should I use a phrasal verb here? We just do. Think about it. Someone cracking jokes with friends.
Yep.
Pitching a big project at work. Planning a holiday. Phrasal verbs are just there, consistently.
Because they're concise.
Natural, both. They offer concise, natural ways to talk about a huge range of actions, ideas. Some studies even show they make up a really high percentage of the verbs we use in natural spoken English. So mastering them, it's not just about more vocabulary. It really is your ticket to sounding natural.
Okay.
Engaging effortlessly, in pretty much any situation.
Because without them, English can sound a bit wooden.
Yeah, stiff.
Uh-huh.
Overly formal, maybe even a little distant. But with phrasal verbs, your speech just becomes more fluid, more dynamic. It reflects how people actually speak.
Right. And they have that grammatical structure, verb plus particle. So they're core grammar, not just slangy idioms.
Exactly. They're distinct from purely metaphorical idioms, even though they often have non-literal meanings.
Yeah.
And you mentioned conciseness before. That's huge, too.
Yeah. Efficiency.
Totally. Why say, we must find a solution to this difficult problem, when you can just say, we need to work out this problem?
Much quicker. Better rhythm.
That conciseness is absolutely key for getting that native-like rhythm in your speech.
That's such a powerful point. Efficiency, rhythm. Yeah, it's a game changer when you start using them comfortably. Okay, this brings us to where it gets really practical, really compelling. Let's shift gears from the theory.
Do it.
Let's explore how these linguistic powerhouses actually show up everywhere, in all corners of our lives. You might actually be surprised just how ingrained they are. And seeing them in action like this, it makes them much easier for you to spot and then hopefully use with confidence.
Definitely. Seeing them used makes them click.
So let's start with just everyday conversations. Picture this. You're at a coffee shop, meeting a friend you haven't seen for a while. This kind of setting. Phrasal verbs aren't just common, they're essential. They create that warm, natural, casual flow.
They really do. They give those chats that feeling of ease, familiarity, something that, simpler single verbs sometimes struggle to convey in quite the same way.
Yeah, like that classic greeting, oh my gosh, it's been ages, let's catch up over coffee soon.
Catch up instantly gets the idea across. Reconnecting, sharing news, finding out what's been going on. It's way more natural than saying, let's synchronize our personal narrative.
Definitely don't say that. Or how about, hey, want to hang out at my place tonight?
Hang out. Perfect. Spending time casually, no fixed plan, just relaxed, informal, a get-together.
And if maybe something a bit awkward comes up later, you might say, look, I didn't really want to bring up the party, but...
Bring up. Introduce a topic, raise a point, often something a bit sensitive or maybe avoided before.
Or that surprise meeting. You'll never guess who I ran into at the supermarket yesterday.
Run into. Meet by chance. Unexpectedly. Quite different from just meeting, which could be planned.
Good distinction. And if a friend looks down, hey, you seem a bit stressed. Let's watch a comedy to cheer you up.
Cheer up. Make someone feel better. Lift their spirits, especially if they're sad or worried.
Or maybe you're trying to be healthier. I'm really trying to cut back on sugar, but it's tough.
Cut back on. Reduce. Use less.
So useful for talking about moderation, caffeine, spending, screen time, whatever.
And for a quick visit, you might say, hey, I might just drop by your place later if you're around.
Drop by. Visit briefly, often without much warning. Very different from, say, scheduling a formal appointment.
Definitely. And finally, maybe recovering from being sick. Don't worry, you'll get over that cold in a couple of days.
Get over. Recover from something. An illness, sure, but also maybe a breakup or a disappointment. These phrases just make those casual interactions feel so much more real, more engaging.
Yeah, they add warmth, intimacy even.
They really do. They make conversations less formal, definitely more engaging than if we just stuck to, like, single dictionary words all the time.
It's true. Saying, I spent time with my friends sounds okay, but maybe a bit clinical. Whereas, I hung out with my friend instantly tells you it was relaxed, easygoing.
Exactly. So to really get these into your system, a really practical tip, consciously pick maybe just 2, 3 of these common ones that feel useful to you.
Okay.
And then deliberately try to weave them into your next casual chat or even just a text message.
So actually make a point of using catch up or hang out.
Precisely. Send that text, hey, let's hang out soon and catch up. You'll find using them in real situations makes them feel like part of your vocabulary almost immediately. The goal isn't just knowing the definition.
Right.
It's feeling how they shape the conversation, feeling the flow.
I like that. Feel the flow. Okay, so from casual coffee chats, let's shift focus. Professional world. Phrasal verbs definitely have a big role at work too, right?
Absolutely. Maybe surprisingly big for some people.
Yeah. Whether you're in a Zoom meeting, writing an email, managing a project, using the right ones can help you sound confident, collaborative, but also approachable.
They often give you a more dynamic, maybe less stuffy alternative
Yeah.
to some of those really formal, often Latin-based verbs.
Right. They can sound more direct, efficient even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if a client raises an issue, you might say, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'll look into that complaint right away and get back to you.
Look into, so that suggests what? Investigation.
Yeah, a proactive, diligent investigation. It really conveys commitment to finding a solution, perhaps more actively than just saying, I will investigate.
Yeah.
Which can sound a bit passive.
Okay, or after a meeting. Great discussion, everyone. Sarah, can you follow up with marketing on that timeline?
Follow up, essential in business, checking in, taking the next step, keeping momentum, ensuring accountability. Very common.
Of course, sometimes things get delayed. Look, team, we really can't put off this deadline any longer. We need to deliver.
Put off means delay or postpone. But yeah, it often carries a bit more of a sense of urgency, I think, than just postpone. Like, we shouldn't be delaying this.
Yeah, I agree. It feels more active. What about teamwork? If someone's overloaded, hey, don't worry, I can take over the presentation prep if you're swamped.
Take over. Assume responsibility. Shows great teamwork, willingness.
And finally, ending a meeting. Okay, great points. Let's wrap up this discussion now, and I'll send out the minutes.
Wrap up. Finish. Conclude. Nice and efficient. These verbs really help strike that balance, don't they?
Yeah, between professional and conversational.
Exactly. You sound professional, but also approachable. They're direct, clear, efficient for business talk. They just allow for that conciseness, that naturalness that single verbs sometimes lack. Makes things feel less stiff.
So saying, I'll sort out the schedule feels maybe a bit more collaborative, more proactive than just, I will organize the schedule, even though both are fine professionally.
That's precisely the kind of nuance they bring.
Yeah.
A really effective way to practice these professional ones. Try incorporating them into your daily work emails.
Oh, okay. In writing, too.
Definitely. Try writing something simple like, just confirming I'll look into the issue you raised and follow up with an update by tomorrow. Using them reinforces them.
Makes sense.
Just, remember the formality point we touched on. While work out or look into are generally fine everywhere, you probably want to avoid the super casual ones like screw up when talking to your boss or important clients.
Right. Definitely don't email the CEO saying you screwed up.
Probably a bad career move. Always consider your audience and the context. That's key.
Good advice. Okay, let's move to something maybe a bit more fun. Pop culture.
Ah, yes.
Phrasal verbs are absolutely everywhere.
Are they?
Favorite songs, movies, TV shows, they're a huge part of why this stuff feels relatable, punchy.
They capture complex emotions or actions
really concisely,
Yeah.
impactfully.
They really are like linguistic shortcuts, aren't they? Straight to the feeling or the action.
Totally. Think about how many songs are about relationships ending. You constantly hear lines like, "We broke up and now I'm trying to move on."
Breakup, classic, staple of pop lyrics. It just conveys that universal thing so directly. Way better than, we terminated our romantic affiliation.
Thank goodness nobody sings that. Or picture a dramatic movie scene. Someone's encouraging another character who's trapped, shouting, "Just hang in there, help is coming."
Hang in there, stay strong, persevere. Powerful message. Resilience, warmth, urgency, all packed in.
Exactly. Or in mystery shows. The detectives are always trying to figure out the motive. You need to figure out who did this.
Figure out, solve, understand, find the answer. It implies that mental effort, right? Putting the pieces together.
Yeah. And action movies, heist films. You'll definitely hear, "Quick, we need to get away before the cops show up."
Get away! Escape! Avoid capture. Definitely, it conveys urgency, maybe stealth.
Then you've got party scenes, upbeat songs. Someone shouts, "All right, everyone, let's turn up tonight."
Turn up! Get excited! Increase the energy, make the party lively, raise the intensity.
And, well, on the flip side, in dramas, friends sometimes fall out over something silly.
Unfortunately, yeah. Fall out, have a disagreement, stop being friends, captures that emotional break.
So next time you're streaming something or listening to music, actively keep an ear out. It's like a gold mine for seeing how these verbs are naturally woven into stories, into drama.
Pop culture really is a living language lesson.
It is. It's not just passive entertainment. It's this immersive environment where you can see and absorb how native speakers naturally use these verbs in really meaningful situations.
Yeah, they give you these direct examples, often loaded with emotion or action. They carry more weight sometimes than a single word.
Exactly. Specificity.
So how can listeners actually use that? What's a practical tip?
Okay, a really fun and effective approach. Create your own phrasal verb playlist. Pick a song you like, listen closely, spot the verbs, break down, move on, turn up, whatever.
Okay.
Then challenge yourself. Write a new sentence using that same phrasal verb, but in a totally different situation.
So active engagement again.
Exactly. That active engagement with authentic stuff dramatically improves your recall and how you apply them. It turns passive listening into active learning. Way more effective.
Great idea. Okay, shifting gears again. Let's talk about a more structured setting. School and education.
Academic environments.
Whether you're a student prepping for exams, a teacher, a lifelong learner, phrasal verbs are key here too. Discussing assignments, understanding lectures, navigating the whole process.
You hear them constantly in classrooms, lecture halls.
Like a teacher will almost certainly say, "Okay, class, don't forget to hand in your essays by Friday."
Hand in, submit, turn in.
Yeah.
It's just the standard, most natural way to say it in that context.
Or before a test, maybe. All right, let's quickly go over the answers from last night's homework.
Go over, review, discuss in detail. For clarification, for preparation, make sure everyone's on the same page.
If someone learns really quickly, wow, she picked up Spanish so fast when she lived abroad.
Pick up, learn or acquire something, often quickly, maybe informally through exposure, not necessarily intense formal study, just by being around it.
On the other side of things, sometimes students leave early. He dropped out of university after his first year.
Drop out. Quit or leave a course or institution without finishing. A very specific action in education.
If a concept is tough, a student might groan, "Ugh, it took me ages to finally catch on to quantum physics."
Catch on. Understand or grasp something, especially after it was difficult at first, that aha moment.
Exactly, the aha moment. Love that. Before a big exam, you might think, okay, I really need to brush up on my history dates.
Brush up on, refresh or improve skills you already have but haven't used in a while, like getting rid of the cobwebs. A quick review.
Definitely need that sometimes. During lectures, it's good advice. Make sure you write down the key points the professor mentions.
Write down, note, record in writing. Much more common than just record when talking about taking notes.
And for managing the workload, a teacher might advise it's really important to keep up with the weekly readings.
Keep up with. Stay on pace. Maintain the required progress. Don't fall behind. These are super helpful, especially if you're studying where English is the language used.
Right.
Using these phrasal verbs is often just the most natural, the most idiomatic, frankly, the expected way to talk about these academic actions.
Precisely. Using them helps you communicate effectively, seamlessly within that educational world. It shows you understand the norms. Like saying, "I need to review my notes" is fine.
Perfectly correct.
But saying "I need to go over my notes" just sounds more natural, more common in that academic chat.
It really does. So how can students practice these particular ones?
A really good way is to pair up with a classmate. Quiz each other.
Okay.
Use a phrasal verb in a sentence. I'll go over my notes tonight. Then your partner has to guess the meaning, or maybe use it in a new sentence themselves. That active recall, that peer interaction, it really solidifies understanding much better than just trying to memorize a list alone.
Makes sense. Active practice. Okay, let's pack our bags and talk travel.
Ah, yes. Phrasal verb paradise, you called it.
I did, because when you travel, you step right into it. These verbs are crucial for everything: booking things, exploring, and definitely chatting with locals or other travelers.
They streamline things.
Yeah.
And honestly, they make you sound like a much more seasoned globetrotter.
Less like someone reading from a phrase book, yeah.
Exactly. Consider arriving at your hotel. Hi, we need to check in, please. Reservation for Smith.
Check in. Register. Arrive formally. Standard for hotels, flights, that specific action of starting your stay or journey.
And when you start an adventure, maybe text friends back home. Exciting news. We set off for the mountains at dawn.
Set off. Begin a journey. Sounds active, enthusiastic.
Once you're there, you'll need to figure out how to, say, get around the city easily. Is the metro good?
Get around. Move or travel within a place. Talking about navigation, ease of movement.
For more casual exploring. Hey, let's just look around the old town for a bit before dinner.
Look around. Explore, browse, wander. No specific goal, just curiosity.
And if you're the kind of traveler who absorbs things, you might say later, oh yeah, I picked up some basic Italian while I was in Rome.
Pick up again. But here, meaning learning informally through immersion. Not formal classes. Super common for travelers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When leaving, asking the taxi driver, could you drop me off at the train station, please?
Drop off. Leave someone at a location, usually by car. Convenience.
And, well, travel isn't always smooth. Ugh, our flight was held up for 3 hours due to fog.
Hold up. Delay something. A very common travel frustration.
Tell me about it. And for recommendations? Oh, you have to check out that little restaurant we found near the beach. Amazing.
Check out. Visit or try something interesting, recommended, a must-see or must-try. These phrases just help you navigate travel situations so much more naturally.
Yeah, asking for directions, sharing stories, making plans. They add that colloquial charm, make you sound comfortable, competent, like you know your way around.
So what's a good tip for learning these travel-specific ones?
Okay, proactive tip. Before your next trip, make a point to learn just, say, 5 travel phrasal verbs you think you'll probably need.
Okay, just 5.
Yes, start small, maybe check in, set off, get around, pick up, check out. Then consciously commit to actually using them during the trip in conversations.
Be intentional about it.
Exactly. Actively putting them into your travel talk makes a huge difference. Helps you articulate your plans and experiences much more smoothly.
Great advice. Okay, now let's get a bit more personal. Relationships.
Ah, the complex stuff.
Friendships, family, romance. These connections are absolutely saturated with phrasal verbs. They're perfect for capturing emotions, interactions, those subtle dynamics between people.
They provide this rich way to express the nuances. They carry real emotional weight.
Yeah. Like, talking about friends, you might happily say, oh, I get along great with my new colleagues. We just clicked.
Get along, have a good harmonious relationship. Implies compatibility. Things are smooth, no friction.
After maybe a tiff, it's a relief when they argued last night, but thankfully they made up this morning.
Make up, reconcile after a fight, resolve differences, restore the relationship. So important.
Romantically, sometimes things end sadly. Did you hear Ben and Chloe broke up after 5 years?
Break up again, ending that romantic relationship. Very direct, very common way to talk about that difficult thing.
For a deeper connection, you hope someone feels comfortable enough to open up about their feeling.
Open up. Share emotions, thoughts, personal stuff. It implies vulnerability, trust. Signifies the relationship deepening.
And then there's that lovely moment when someone admits, honestly, I think I fell for her the moment we met.
Fall for.
Yeah.
Develop romantic feelings. Often quickly. Has that sense of enchantment.
That super versatile hangout can even have a romantic hint sometimes, can't it? Like, we've been hanging out a lot lately. Are we, like, dating?
Yeah, context is everything there. Still means spending time together, but yeah, it can imply developing interest, often used when trying to figure out the relationship status.
Sometimes we worry about disappointing people. Oh, I really don't want to let him down on his birthday. I need a good gift.
Let down, disappoint someone, fail their expectations, almost like a breach of trust. It highlights that potential hurt.
And for unwavering support, you might say to a friend, don't worry, I'll always stand by you no matter what.
Stand by. Support.
Stay loyal, especially when things are tough. Signifies real commitment. These verbs add such deep emotional layers to talks about love, friendship.
Yeah.
They're perfect for those heartfelt chats where getting the feeling right is key. They allow for really nuanced expression of complex human stuff.
It's true. Saying, I reconciled with my friend is correct, technically, but I made up with my friend just feels warmer, right? Like a mutual effort to fix things.
Precisely. For a good tip here, try writing a short note, maybe just a text, to a friend or loved one, and consciously use, say, 3 to 5 of these relationship verbs.
Okay.
Like, hey, I'm so glad we get along so well and can always open up to each other. Just wanted you to know I'll always stand by you. Something like that.
Something into practice in a meaningful way.
Exactly. That active application helps embed them in your emotional vocabulary.
Yeah.
Makes your messages feel and sound more authentic.
Nice. Okay, let's shift to something that touches pretty much everyone's life now. Technology.
Oh, yeah? Phrasal verbs and tech.
Yes.
Very connected.
In our tech-driven world, they are incredibly common. Talking about gadgets, apps, our online lives, they're just everywhere, like a shorthand for digital interaction.
And often there's simply the most natural way to describe what we're doing with tech. Tech language adopted them really fast.
Yeah, like the basics. Oof, I can't log into my email, forgot the password again. Or the opposite, don't forget to log out of your banking app.
Log in, log out, access or exit a system, absolutely standard terms now.
When you get new tech, great. I just finished setting up my new phone, took a while.
Set up, configure, prepare, install, that initial preparation phase.
A really crucial habit these days. Always back up your important files before you update the OS.
Back up, save a copy of data. Essential for security. It's become a universal phrase for data safety.
When your battery dies, that desperate plea, quick, can you plug in the charger for me? My phone's about to die.
Plug in. Connect to power or another device. Simple but vital. So vital.
A common frustration. Oh no, my laptop ran out of battery right in the middle of the presentation.
Run out, use up, deplete a supply, often unexpectedly, battery, data, always at the worst moment.
Trying a new service. Oh yeah, I signed up for that new streaming service everyone's talking about.
Sign up. Register, join a service or website. Standard procedure.
End of the workday. Okay, time to shut down the computer and head home.
Shut down. Turn off completely. Full power off.
And those annoying things online. Ugh, another ad just popped up while I was trying to read.
Pop up. Appear suddenly on screen. Notifications. Ads. These are really must-know phrases for any tech talk. Troubleshooting, discussing apps, just navigating your digital life.
It's fascinating how language keeps evolving with technology. These aren't loose jargon anymore.
No.
They're fundamental for discussing, using, fixing digital stuff. They're concise ways to describe sometimes complex actions, makes tech chat feel seamless, natural.
Like, instead of the slightly clunky, I need to save a copy of my data, just saying I need to back up my data is instantly understood. Sounds way more natural in that context. Totally. For a practical tip here, maybe next time you're on a tech forum online looking for help or giving advice, make a conscious effort to use one of these phrasal verbs in your post.
Okay.
Like, hi everyone, I need to back up my data before installing the update, but I seem to have forgotten how to log into my cloud account. Any ideas? Using the terms naturally helps you communicate effectively in that community.
Good idea. Blend in with the tech forum natives. Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, so many different contexts, and honestly, the list of phrasal verbs just goes on and on.
It's immense.
But before we get into strategies for really mastering them, how about a quick fire round? Just a few more incredibly versatile ones you'll hear constantly, just proving how foundational they are.
Right, quick fire. Hit me.
Okay, controlling volume or rejecting something. Could you turn down the music, please? Or, he asked her out, but she turned him down. Flexible. Turn down.
Right. Context is key there. How about when something's free? Wow, they're giving away free donuts downtown. Give away. Distribute for free.
Tolerating annoyance. Ugh, I don't know how you put up with that noisy neighbor.
Put up with.
Yeah.
Tolerate. Endure something unpleasant.
Yeah.
Definitely emphasize patience wearing thin.
Accidental discovery. I was cleaning out the closet and came across my old photo albums.
Come across, find by chance, unexpectedly.
Starting a journey or sudden success. Hooray, the plane took off on time. Or, wow, her online store really took off.
Take off. Depart like a plane. Or become successful quickly. Dual meaning there.
When someone's boasting a bit, oh, he's always showing off his new car.
Show off. Display proudly, often suggesting bragging.
A scary medical moment, perhaps. It was so hot and crowded, I thought I was going to pass out.
Pass out. Faint. Lose consciousness.
Looking forward to Friday. I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
Look forward to, be excited about a future event. Always a good one.
Making an error. Oops. I think I messed up the recipe, added salt instead of sugar.
Myth up. Make a mistake. Spoil something. Informal. Very common.
Unexpected things causing delays. Sorry I'm late, something important came up.
Come up. Arise unexpectedly. Often implies urgency.
Growth and upbringing. I actually grew up in a big city.
Grow up. Mature. Be raised.
Family resemblance. She really takes after her dad. They have the same sense of humor.
Take after.
Yeah.
Resemble a parent or older relative. Appearance or character.
Quitting something. I tried learning the violin for months, but eventually I just gave up.
Give up. Quit. Abandon an attempt or habit. Stop trying.
And finally, checking on someone. I'm just going to check up on the baby quickly.
Check up on, see how someone's doing or inspect something.
Phew.
That was rapid fire. But those are truly versatile. They work in so many contexts, from casual chat to serious situations. Incredibly handy.
The sheer range is amazing. Mundane things like turning down music, significant life stuff like growing up or giving up. They just fit everywhere. So useful.
They offer that succinctness, that naturalness, that single verbs often can't quite match in the same way.
So how can people keep track of all these random useful ones?
To really get a grip on this wider range, I highly recommend starting a phrasal verb journal.
Ooh, okay, like a language diary.
Exactly. Each day, maybe pick one new phrasal verb you've encountered. Then consciously use it in an original sentence in your journal. You can even draw a little picture if you're visual.
Huh, okay.
For instance, write, today I came across a fascinating podcast episode and I'm really looking forward to the next one. That active, creative application. Much better for long-term memory than just passively reviewing lists.
I love that idea, the phrasal verb journal. Okay, so we've seen how incredibly prevalent they are, popping up everywhere. But the big question is still, how do you, the listener, actually get a real handle on them without feeling totally overwhelmed?
Yeah, it's a common concern.
Yeah.
Understandable. But the good news, there are really effective strategies. It's definitely manageable if you approach it the right way.
All right, let's dive into those top strategies then for truly mastering them, moving beyond just recognizing them to actually using them confidently, naturally.
Okay, strategy number 1, and maybe the most crucial. Learn them in context. Just memorizing long lists. Phrasal verb plus definition. Largely ineffective for real mastery.
Right. Doesn't stick.
Exactly. Instead, immerse yourself in real English. Watch YouTube vlogs you like. Scroll social media feeds. Listen to podcasts like this one. Pay attention to how they're used in sentences, in conversations.
So you get the feel for it, not just the meaning.
You start to intuitively grasp the nuance when it's appropriate, the emotional tone. You start using them naturally, not forcing them.
Context is king. Got it. What's next?
Second, a really powerful technique is grouping them by particle, by that little word at the end, like up or out or in.
Okay. How does that help?
Well, often, verbs sharing the same particle share a common sort of conceptual theme. It's not a perfect rule, but it's a helpful pattern. For example, up often suggests completion or increase or emergence.
Like clean up, speed up, show up.
Exactly. Clean up, complete the cleaning. Speed up, increase speed. Show up or come up, appear, emerge. And conversely, out often suggests leaving or removal or spreading information.
Like move out, hand out, figure out.
Perfect examples. Move out, leave a home. Hand out, distribute things. Figure out or find out, extracting information or a solution. Recognizing these patterns can be a great mental shortcut. Helps you sometimes predict meaning, makes learning feel less random, less daunting.
Grouping by particle. Smart. What else?
Third, practice with stories. Active creation is always way more effective for deep learning than just passive reading.
So actually using them yourself.
Yes. Challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Write a short paragraph about your day, a fictional story, whatever, and specifically aim to use, say, 5 to 10 phrasal verbs you're learning.
Yeah.
This forces you to really engage with the meaning and fit them into a real context.
Right. Like making a little narrative.
Yeah. For example, this morning, I had to wake up early to work out. Later, I ran into an old colleague, so we decided to catch up over lunch. We ended up hanging out all afternoon, even though I had to put off finishing my report.
Making it part of a story helps it stick better.
Exactly. That creative application strengthens recall, helps you produce them more naturally later, builds those active use pathways in your brain.
Makes a lot of sense. Tip number 4.
Fourth tip, use flashcards effectively. Now, I know we said don't just memorize lists.
Yeah.
but flashcards can be useful if done right. Digital apps like Anki or Quizlet are great, especially with their spaced repetition.
Right, they show you the hard ones more often.
Exactly. They schedule reviews based on how well you remember, so you revisit tricky ones more until they stick. But here's the key. When you make the flashcard, don't just put phrasal verb definition. Not enough context.
Okay, so what should be on it?
Put the phrasal verb on one side, on the other. Put a full example sentence showing it used naturally in context. Maybe add an image if that helps you, and maybe a little note. Separable. Inseparable. We'll talk about that next.
Context on the flashcard, too. Good tip. And the last strategy.
And finally, number 5, mimic natives, often called shadowing.
Yes. Shadowing.
Choose a sitcom, a TV show with lots of natural everyday chat. Friends, The Office, whatever you like. Pay super close attention to how they use phrasal verbs. But don't just listen. Pause the show. Repeat the lines exactly as they say them.
Copying the intonation, rhythm.
Everything. Intonation, rhythm, even the emotional delivery. This helps you internalize not just the right usage, but the natural flow, the tone. It makes your own speech sound much more authentic, less like you're translating in your head.
That's all incredibly helpful. 5 great strategies. Context, grouping, stories, flashcards done right, and mimicking.
Now, while mastering these is super rewarding, as we've hinted, there are some tricky bits.
Definitely some potential traps. So it's just as important to be aware of some common pitfalls. Knowing these mistakes can save you from misunderstandings, maybe some awkward moments, make the journey smoother.
Yeah, definitely worth flagging a few. A really big one is confusing the literal versus the figurative meanings. Many phrasal verbs have multiple meanings. One might be literal, another totally idiomatic.
Right, like your run over example earlier.
Exactly. Run over.
Yeah.
Perfect. Literally. Hit with a car, the truck ran over the curb.
Yeah.
Physical action, but figuratively. Review quickly. Let's run over the plan one more time.
Totally different.
Completely different. And context is everything here. You have to look at the surrounding words, listen to the tone, think about the situation to figure out which meaning is intended. Getting it wrong can lead to, well, misunderstandings.
Okay, literal versus figurative. Got it. That's a big one. What's another common trap?
Another crucial thing to be aware of, separable versus inseparable phrasal verbs.
Okay. This sounds a bit grammatical.
It is. It's about whether the object, the noun or pronoun, can go between the verb and the particle, or if it must come after the particle.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Take turn on. It's separable.
Right.
You can say turn on the TV or turn the TV on. Both work. But crucially, if the object is a pronoun like it or them, it must go in the middle. Turn it on. You can't say turn on it.
Okay. Pronoun forces separation for separable verbs.
Exactly.
Right.
But now think about look after, meaning take care of. That one's inseparable. You have to say, I need to look after my sister. You cannot say, I need to look my sister after.
That just sounds wrong.
It sounds really weird. And with a pronoun, it still follows. I need to look after her. You wouldn't say look her after. Now, the rules for which verbs are, which can be complex, it takes practice and exposure. But just being aware this distinction exists is a huge first step. Pay attention to patterns you see and hear. It helps avoid those common grammatical errors that make speech sound unnatural.
Separable versus inseparable. Need to watch for that. Okay, what else?
Formality. Another important thing learners sometimes miss.
Right. Using slang with the CEO probably isn't wise.
Exactly. Phrasal verbs vary hugely in formality. Some are totally fine for work or academic writing, like follow up, look into, but others are really casual, informal, even slangy. Like workout is usually fine in a meeting, but screw up, meaning make a mistake.
Yeah, probably don't tell your boss you screwed up the budget report.
Definitely not. It would sound unprofessional, inappropriate in most formal settings. Always think about your audience, the situation. When in doubt, especially in a very formal context, it's often safer to use a more formal single-word verb if one works, like investigate instead of look into if you need maximum formality, or pick a phrasal verb you know is acceptable.
Good rule.
Yeah.
When in doubt, go more formal, especially if the stakes are high.
Yes. And finally, just briefly, be aware of regional variations.
Like British versus American English differences.
Exactly. While tons of phrasal verbs are universal, some usages differ slightly. Or one might be way more common in one place than another. For instance, in the UK, you might hear pop in for a brief informal visit. In the US, you're more likely to hear drop by for the same thing.
Okay, pop in versus drop by.
Another classic, filling out a form. Americans usually fill out a form. Brits more often fill in a form. Both are understood everywhere, but one's more typical in each place. Just listening for these small differences, maybe if you watch media from different regions, refines your understanding, helps you adapt if you want to, connect better.
That's really useful. Okay, pitfalls. Literal, figurative, separable, inseparable formality, regional variations. Lots to keep in mind, but being aware is definitely half the battle.
Yeah.
Okay, we have covered a huge amount today.
They really have.
We know what they are, why they're crucial, where they pop up, strategies, pitfalls. Let's bring it all together. What's the personal action plan for someone listening right now? How do they take all this and turn it into real, confident usage?
Right, the what next. Okay, first, remember that spice rack analogy.
Yeah.
Phrasal verbs add flavor, make speech pop. But like spices, you don't use them all at once. So step one, start small. Don't try to master hundreds immediately. That's just overwhelming. You'll likely give up.
Okay, so how small is small then?
Pick maybe just 10. But choose 10 that are directly relevant and useful to your daily life right now. If you socialize a lot, focus on catch up, hang out, get along. If work involves projects, prioritize setup, follow up, look into, wrap up. The absolute key is choosing verbs you can use immediately. That makes practice feel relevant, rewarding.
Tailor it to your life. Makes perfect sense.
Step 2. Consistency is everything. Learning these isn't a one-time thing. Make a conscious effort. Use your chosen verbs daily, or as often as you can. Actively listen for them everywhere. Conversations, podcasts, TV, movies, online. The more you expose yourself and the more you try to use them yourself, the more automatic they become. And crucially, don't worry about mistakes.
That's a big one.
Huge. Don't stress about messing up. It's a natural, essential part of learning for everyone. View each mistake not as failure, but as a learning opportunity. A chance to refine things, embrace the process.
Consistency and a growth mindset. Got it. What else?
And step 3, to really accelerate things, build in some of those fun, active practices we talked about. Watch that movie specifically to spot phrasal verbs. Write that journal entry, aiming for 10-plus phrasal verbs. Even better. If possible, join an English-speaking group.
Online or in person?
Yeah, a conversation club, whatever. It gives you that safe space for real-time practice, trying them out spontaneously.
Where you can experiment and maybe get gentle feedback.
Exactly. The more you integrate them into your active life, your active communication, the sooner you'll find yourself just weaving them into sentences, effortlessly, like a native speaker does.
Start small, be consistent, embrace mistakes, practice actively. Sounds like a solid plan. Well, you have just completed a very deep dive into the incredible, sometimes complex, but ultimately really rewarding world of phrasal verbs.
The main takeaway, I really hope, is clear. These aren't just some annoying grammar hurdle to jump over. They're an essential, dynamic part of English. Using them genuinely elevates your communication, makes it more natural, more expressive, more authentic. They really are your key to sounding truly fluent, genuinely confident in English. By embracing them, you're not just learning words. You're really unlocking a deeper connection to the rhythm, maybe even the soul, of the English language itself.
Beautifully put. And this whole exploration, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other seemingly small, nuanced bits of language hold such huge power? Power in shaping how we communicate, maybe even how we see and interact with the world. The journey of learning a language is always about discovery, isn't it?
Always more to explore. The subtle, fascinating power of words and how we put them together. So my final thought is just keep that curiosity going. Keep exploring.
Fantastic final thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We sincerely hope you feel much more empowered now to tackle phrasal verbs and really start weaving them into your everyday English.